1984 December 2nd to 3rd, the Bhopal gas leak, which occurred on the night in Bhopal, India, is widely considered the world's worst industrial disaster. The catastrophic event at a pesticide plant owned by Union Carbide India Limited, UCIL, resulted in the release of more than 30 tons of highly toxic methyl isocyanate, MiC, gas, killing thousands and leaving hundreds of thousands more with lifelong health issues. A routine cleaning procedure involved washing out pipes with water. Due to poor maintenance and oversight, water was able to enter tank E610, which contained 42 tons of MiC. The water triggered a runaway exothermic reaction, causing a dangerous buildup of heat and pressure. The plant's safety systems, including a refrigeration unit to cool the tanks, a vent gas scrubber to neutralize escaped gas, and a flare tower to burn it off, were all either malfunctioning or out of service. When the gas began to escape, the public alarm was silenced by plant officials, who assumed it was a minor leak. As a result, the hundreds of thousands of people living in the surrounding slums had no warning and were left to fend for themselves. The parent company, Union Carbide Corporation, UCC, which was based in the U.S., had relaxed safety standards at the Bhopal plant to cut costs, ignoring numerous warning signs and previous smaller leaks. Over 500,000 people were exposed to the gas, and many survivors continue to suffer from chronic health problems, including respiratory illnesses, eye diseases, neurological damage, and higher rates of cancer and birth defects in subsequent generations. The abandoned factory site continues to leak toxic chemicals and heavy metals that have contaminated the soil and groundwater, posing ongoing risks to the community. While UCC and its executives were hit with legal cases and activists have pushed for accountability for decades, the initial $470 million settlement was widely criticized as inadequate. Warren Anderson, UCC's CEO at the time, was arrested but was later released and never returned to face trial. The UCIL factory was built in 1969 to produce the pesticide 7, UCC's brand name for carbaryl, using methyl isocyanate, MiC, as an intermediate, and MiC production plant was added to the UCIL site in 1979. The chemical process employed in the Bhopal plant had methylamine reacting with phosgene to form MiC, which was in turn reacted with 1-naphthol to form the final product, carbaryl. Another manufacturer, Bayer, also used this MiC intermediate process at the chemical plant once owned by UCC at Institute, West Virginia in the United States. After the Bhopal plant was built, other manufacturers, including Bayer, produced carbaryl without MiC, though at a greater manufacturing cost. UCIL's process differed from the MiC-free routes used elsewhere, in which the same raw materials were combined in a different manufacturing order, with phosgene initially reacting with 1-naphthol to form a chloroformate ester, which was later reacted with methylamine. In the early 1980s, although the demand for pesticides had fallen, production continued, leading to an accumulation of unused MiC at the Bhopal site. In 1976, 2 local trade unions complained of pollution within the plant. In 1981, a worker was accidentally splashed with phosgene as he was carrying out a maintenance job of the plant's pipes. In a panic, he removed his gas mask and inhaled a large amount of toxic phosgene gas, leading to his death 72 hours later. Following these events, journalist Rajkumar Keswani began investigating and published his findings in Bhopal's local paper Raphat, in which he urged, "Wake up, people of Bhopal, you are on the edge of a volcano." In January 1982, a phosgene leak exposed 24 workers, all of whom were admitted to a hospital. None of the workers had been ordered to wear protective equipment. 1 month later, in February 1982, an MiC leak affected 18 workers. In August 1982, a chemical engineer came into contact with liquid MiC, resulting in burns over 30% of his body. In October 1982, there was another MiC leak. In attempting to stop the leak, the MiC supervisor suffered severe chemical burns, and 2 other workers were severely exposed to the gases. During 1983 and 1984, there were leaks of MiC, chlorine, monomethylamine, phosgene, and carbon tetrachloride, sometimes in combination. The Bhopal UCIL facility housed 3 underground 68,000-liter, 18,000 US gallon liquid MiC storage tanks, E610, E611, and E619. In the months leading up to the December leak, liquid mic production was in progress and being used to fill these tanks. UCC safety regulations specified that no one tank should be filled more than 50%, about 30 tons, with liquid mic. Each tank was pressurized with inert nitrogen gas. This pressurization allowed liquid mic to be pumped out of each tank as needed and also kept impurities and moisture out of the tanks. In late October 1984, tank E610 lost the ability to effectively contain most of its nitrogen gas pressure, which meant that the liquid mic contained within could not be pumped out. At the time of this failure, tank E610 contained 42 tons of liquid mic. Shortly after this failure, mic production was halted at the Bhopal facility, and parts of the plant were shut down for maintenance. Maintenance included the shutdown of the plant's flare tower so that a corroded pipe could be repaired. With the flare tower still rendered useless, production of carbaryl was resumed in late November using mic stored in the two tanks still in service. An attempt to re-establish pressure in tank E610 on December 1st failed, so the 42 tons of liquid mic contained within still could not be pumped out of it. At the heart of Bhopal stood the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant. Inside, a tank held 42 tons of methyl isocyanate, mic, a highly toxic chemical used in pesticide production. On the night of December 2nd, water accidentally entered the tank. A runaway chemical reaction began. The safety systems disabled. The result? A massive leak of poisonous gas into the air. Within hours, the gas cloud spread over nearby slums. People woke up choking, blinded, and gasping for breath. Many never woke up at all. Officially, 3,787 people died. But activists and researchers estimate the real number could be over 16,000. More than 500,000 were injured, many permanently. Survivors still suffer from respiratory problems, birth defects, cancer, and psychological trauma. Children born decades later carry the scars of that night. So how did this happen? Investigations revealed a chilling truth. Cost-cutting measures had disabled key safety systems. Refrigeration units were turned off. Gas scrubbers were non-functional. Warning systems were ignored. Union Carbide claimed sabotage, but evidence pointed to systemic negligence and poor maintenance. In 1989, Union Carbide settled with the Indian government for $470 million, far below what victims demanded. Its CEO, Warren Anderson, fled India and was never extradited. In 2001, Dow Chemical acquired Union Carbide but denied responsibility. The factory site remains toxic. Groundwater is still contaminated. Cleanup is incomplete. The Bhopal disaster changed the world. India passed the Environment Protection Act in 1986. Globally, it sparked debates on corporate accountability and industrial safety. It also birthed the Right to Know movement, demanding transparency about chemical risks. Bhopal is not just a tragedy. It's a warning, a reminder of what happens when profit is placed above people, and a call to ensure that such a disaster never happens again. To the survivors, activists, and future generations, your fight for justice continues. If the story moved you, share it. Subscribe for more untold histories. And never forget Bhopal.